Hello, here we are again with Muki Tenenbaum. We are exploring, as everyone knows already, I guess, through these videos, his disillusionist philosophy, his misalgic theory about human behavior. And on a weekly basis, for a while now, we've been analyzing the news. We've been trying to look at whatever happens in the world through a disillusionist, through a misalgic point of view. And we are now in late March 2021, and we are seeing all over the world, but especially in continental Europe, the arguments and the discussions around the approval or the suspension of the ongoing rollout of the AstraZeneca vaccine. And we are going to try and look at this news from a philosophical point of view to illustrate some aspects of disillusionism and misalgia.
Well, the news that have been very much in the news these days is a story of about 10 days ago, a little bit more, one study in Germany came out with the conclusion that several cases of blood clots in different parts of the body in several patients happened correlated to the AstraZeneca inoculation of the first dose, and mostly of the first dose. Immediately, they said the conclusion is that there may be a connection. They were very not adamant about it. Mm-hmm. And the young, and I say young because he's young, the 40-year-old Minister of Health of Germany, Jens Stoll, stalled and decided to stop the rollout of the vaccine in Germany. Now, let me explain several things. First of all, his decision tantamounted to a stop of the whole vaccination drive, because most of the vaccines were from AstraZeneca, the great majority. AstraZeneca has already inoculated 20 million doses. From then, we have about 35 cases of blood clot that could be related at that time, thought to be related, and 3 cases of death. In fact, there were 5, but 2 of them were already dismissed. They died from something else. And 1 in Spain, he went to in Germany, 1 in Denmark. It doesn't matter. So immediately they stopped everything. And being Germany the owner of the EU, to be clear, yes, the German illusion is stronger, has bigger wallets. So the rest of the countries follow through, and both France, Spain, Italy, and several other countries, Austria, decided to stop the rollout of the vaccine, being this again the only vaccine that basically that could be administered. His stop was 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks until everything, the European Medical Agency decided to check on it, and then they decided there is no causal relationship between the vaccine and the 3 cases of death and all the clots, the blood clot story. Let me remind everybody that blood clots is the 3rd most common reason of death in the world. In fact, there were less people that had blood clot when they got the vaccine, true, than the general population. Not only that. As you know, COVID, one of the 3 main symptoms and one of the reasons that people die is, yes, you got it, blood clot. So what happened is that during those 2 weeks, about 20,000 people passed away during these 2 weeks. This period, 20 people passed away from the COVID, and 200,000 people were taken to hospital because of COVID. So, to prevent 3 deaths, we kill about, and again, you can do the numbers in another way, but 20,000, you know something, half of it, 10,000, only 100,000 people in the hospital against it. So the Minister of Health made a decision that spelled a disaster for not only for now, but for a long time. He took the only vaccine that is available because it's quite cheap. It's $3 a dose compared to the cheapest next one is more than $10 for the Russian vaccine, and you have $20, $25, or $30 for the two mRNA vaccines, namely Pfizer and Moderna, and even $30 a vaccine for the Chinese Sinopharm, which nobody really checked and see if it's really very much working vaccine, but still. So it was the cheapest vaccine also, and that's the one that probably was given to all the countries that could not afford it, because they cannot, they can buy it, but mostly because they were donated by WHO. One of the countries that stopped the immunization was Cameroon, which says until we don't check it, our Ministry of Health, we will not going to continue to vaccinate people. So this is what we're talking about. Beggars became choosers, and people start saying, I'm not going to take the AstraZeneca, I want to take Pfizer. It became a crazy story in the middle of a scarcity of vaccines, because we have a big scarcity of vaccines. Suddenly we have a behavior that talks about abundance. Yes, I mean, I make a choice. Yes, this one or the other one. The problem is, first of all, this gentleman, you know, I always say at the end of every process, there is a guy with a sandwich, you know, the sandwich bag. That's Mr. Storr. I'm the Minister of Health of Germany, and he did just the wrong calculus. He should have said what makes sense, and now he knows. He should have said, okay, we don't stop anything, we'll check it, and as soon as we have the answer, we continue. But the moment he stopped it, he gave ammunition to the, of course, the anti-vax loonies. Yes, those cuckoo guys who are anti-vax, and of course created a big problem over there. Why is this disillusionism? The answer is, first of all, because there is an illusion with the state illusion, and the guy, and again, it's not Germany who stopped the vaccination. It's this guy. He has a name and a last name. He probably maybe likes to chew gum or hates olives. Remember, we spoke about olives last week. Yes, he's a person, and he makes the decision, and that's it. And automatically, at least 10,000 people probably are going to die because of his decision. So what do you say about this, Flor?
Well, what I was going to ask you, I think, is in the last direction you are now taking. It's when we speak, as everyone does, of the German government, we understand that there is no such a thing as the German government or the state of Cameroon or the Ministry of Health in France. There are individual people there making decisions and mostly just sleepwalking and imitating each other through life. But I wanted to ask you about the other side of this same web, because as there is no German government, there is a guy named Stahl who made the decision. There's no German people either. On the other side of this, there are individuals being somehow affected by this decision that individual made. So I wanted to ask you about the other coin, as it were, what's happening from the individual point of view, from the particular point of view of those who are feeling the consequences of these decisions. And I'm not talking about the special weird people, the anti-vax loonies that you mentioned before, that might take this as an opportunity. I mean, just an average guy on the other side of this chain of events.
Well, several things. Depends who is this guy. This guy could be one of the 10,000 that will die, or the 100,000 that will be in a hospital, that will spend a long time, maybe with a long COVID afterwards. They could be, but that's a small chance. Yes, they could be one of the 46% of Spaniards who now refuse to take the AstraZeneca vaccine, the only one available in Spain. They could be also some of the people who could have get the blood clot. I forgot. There is no relationship between the blood clot and AstraZeneca. But the guy who has to make a decision to put his healthy arm to get a shot, to risk himself for anything, even for the regular side effect, fever, chills, whatever. To do that, he or she have to make a decision to do it. But here we have people who decided, no, I don't want AstraZeneca, I'll wait. Then that decision is partial. I mean, at some point, he probably be able to get another vaccine or not. He doesn't know, she doesn't know. We have, you see, each one of those individuals, when they're making that decision, they don't know what will happen. Worst of it, when you get vaccinated, it's like buying life insurance. You are not going to experience the result of your decision. You are not going to know that you didn't get sick, because a lot of people didn't get sick. Even in the worst countries where COVID was a disaster, only 9 out of 10 people never got sick. Okay, so you don't know if you would have gotten sick. In fact, there was only 10 or 20% chance to get sick. So you don't know. When you make you underwrite you buy life insurance, you're not going to enjoy the money. You're not going to see it. In fact, you're not going to be paid. Somebody else is going to be paid. So why do you do it? Well, you do it to be able to sleepwalk. Yes, to fast forward in life, to be able not to think, not to fear. How do you take out fear? Well, I take a vaccine, I forget about it. Let me just tell you a little thing that is interesting about it. There is a percentage, a not very small percentage, you will be surprised, that once they got the vaccine, the same day they went to a party because they were immune. So people are making a certain calculus, some of it on the wrong facts. They don't know they have to wait at least 2, 3, 4 weeks before the immunity kicks in. And of course, then they will say, I had the vaccine and I got sick. you remember when you hear that with the flu shot. I got the flu, I got the vaccine, and I got the flu. I never had the flu before, the vaccine gave me the flu. There is no way to explain that could not happen. It's just not possible. It's like saying I was walking in the street and the moon fell in front of me. That's about the same chance. So we are talking about ignorance, but going back, the person who make the decision on a healthy moment, why does he do it? So he or she could simply not be afraid. It's gone. The worry, did I put the mask correctly? Am I going into these places? Is this permitted? Is this that is gone. But of course, if there is a danger on what you do, a group of people will say, I won't do it. They will say, hey, only 10% of the people get sick. I'll take my chances. People are doing the numbers. Unlike Jens Stoll, who did not do his numbers, and unlike every minister of France, Spain, Italy, who followed in the steps of Stoll and stalled on the vaccine, as I said before, and waited 2 weeks, or the Minister of Health of Spain, who decided to wait now 6 more days. It's okay, the vaccine is good, but we will wait 6 days. Why they wait 6 days? Nobody knows. But in these 6 days, more than 1,000 people will die. Of course, if they will get the vaccine, these people will die anyway, because they were. But there is another 1,200 waiting at the end of the line of this decision. Yes, or you have, the vaccine was given to people in France who were only under 55. The others, the vaccine was not good. Now they decided the other way around, because the people who got the clots were under 55. So only people above 55. Now, what do you expect from Monsieur Leclerc or Mademoiselle Doucet? What do you expect from them? I mean, really. So what the damage these people did is huge. And on a personal level, here comes the second part. And that is, what is the damage this decision bearing on that person? Not only that they now may decide not to have the vaccine, but what will be in the long-term damage? But before that, I wanted to hear your opinion on this.
No, I think it's an interesting issue altogether to understand the other consequences beyond health and beyond death. But what I was thinking is the main claim here might be that somehow this individual decision by Mr. Stoll interfered with the general public's ability to keep sleepwalking through the vaccination program. It's what was needed was not a conscious decision, was not an intentional approach to AstraZeneca vaccines. It was just to sleepwalk through it as we sleepwalk through most vaccines. When you were speaking, I realized, of course, I have received a number of vaccines in my life. I received them just because I was used to receive them. And I felt the pinpricks. I felt the side effects. I never felt the relief of not catching smallpox. I've never experienced that in my life. I just walked through it all. If I'm awakened, if someone sounds an alarm and says, listen, you might get a clot, there might be a risk, then I guess the whole process is ruined, because now I'm looking at the matter, and as you said, with my set of skills, with my very limited knowledge, I'm trying to make decisions, and I'm trying to calculate and compare the risks of a clot in my veins against the risk. It's a mess any which way you look at it, isn't it?
Yes, and what you just related, it's very interesting, because we say 46%, 42% of the Spaniards will not get the shot. But from those 58% who got the shot, almost all of them got only one of the two shots. You know how many Spaniards got the two shots? 8, not 8,000, 8 Spaniards. The rest are waiting for the second one, and they will get them. But will they be able to sleepwalk with it? I don't know. The 20 million who got the shot, they may think, how soon can I get a blood clot? Could it happen a year after that? Could it happen 6 months? And it doesn't matter now that the WHO says it's fine, there is no problem, because people are, when either you get COVID or you don't get COVID. Either you get 100% or you don't get 100% of COVID. So the next issue is the economical issue. What is the economical impact on this? The economical impact of this is huge, because for 2 weeks you have already postponed, for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, the vaccination drive. So you will have 2 more weeks of people without a job. You have 2 more weeks of people who are not going to school, and this is only 2 weeks. It may be even more than 2 weeks. I think that's it. Do you agree?
I lost you there for a moment.
Yes, I know.
A glitch in my connection. I guess.
I think only you have a problem with connection. But I continue. What I explained, and look, people here will live through our connection problems. But basically, what I said is that the economical impact and the sociological impact and the psychological impact of these 2 weeks is huge. We're talking about economies that are already destroyed, people who have already lost their small businesses, everything is gone, and suddenly it's 2 more weeks at least. Of course, if you continue to postpone and people will wait for the next shot, it's not going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 months, 2 years, 2 years, I don't know, but several months. At the end, the individual, Monsieur Leclerc or Madame Doucet, any of them, or Mr. Garcia, they will have to pay for the guy with the sandwich making decisions without thinking the effect of what he's doing. Why? Because he runs an illusion.
But I think the most interesting aspect of all this is that the whole inference, the whole line of causes and effects, it starts with an individual. It starts with a particular decision made by a particular individual in particular circumstances. because the guy with the sandwich, he is under a very specific set of determinations when he makes the decision, and it ends up affecting particular individuals on the other end of this very complicated, very convoluted, and as you said, hugely it's full of tiny details and consequences that cannot be foreseen in economical terms, in psychological terms, but it's still a long inference, a long change of causes and effects from one particular to a particular, from one individual to another individual, even if it appears illusion-wise, even if it appears to be a general thing, a general matter with governments and peoples.
Yes, absolutely. This is the illusion is that it is a collective thing. We heard one of the WHO saying this is not an issue for individuals. The vaccine is for collective. No. I don't know where he got that idea. The vaccine is ready for the individuals. It may have an effect of what you call the collective. Of course, the collective happens in the head of this guy. There is no collective. Yes. The only problem is that there is a guy who has a gun, who runs a government, and if he says you don't go to work, the restaurant stays closed. The restaurant stays closed. And if you own a restaurant, well, that's how it is. But at the end, the illusion, every illusion needs a gun to enforce its illusionary status the moment people start doubting it. And this is the danger that these countries have, yes, showing that they are useless as collectives.
What you are saying, it's also true. Even if, as I said, I don't feel the effects, the relief of having been vaccinated, I will very much feel the frustration of being unable to board a plane if I don't have the proper certification. There is a part of this that is quite concrete and practical, isn't it?
Yes, both. Of course, that when the best example is Israel. In Israel, people can go into a restaurant, inside of a restaurant, only if they're vaccinated or they were already sick in the past. That's it. The rest of the people have to be outside. And again, everybody can get vaccinated in Israel. Now, this is almost the only country you can do that, because in England you cannot do it because people only are from the age of 40 up. And in the States, depending on the state, it's 50 or 60 up. So until this is not a normal thing, there is not going to be a punishment. But on the other hand, what about not being scared? I mean, you can now sleepwalk. But the interesting thing is this. We are already sleepwalking with the mask. Now you take off the mask. Is that sleepwalking? I'm not sure. Remember, sleepwalking.
Maybe we already got used to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. We'll go back to these subjects because they are coming up with every bit of news we analyze. It's been good to look at it from the current state of affairs. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.